Hi guys, welcome to the revision video of Operations Management. The chapter that we are looking at today is called Operations Strategy and Business Context. Now, in this chapter, we're going to talk a lot more about strategy, how it's formed, what are the different levels. So as you saw, the first chapter that we did was a business strategy and customer orientation, and today we're going to talk about operations strategy to complete that. So what is the aim of strategy? The whole purpose why strategy exists is to guide the organization throughout its lifetime by defining the scope of activity and configuring its resources to carry out the scope of the activity. That means it guides the organization as to what it's formed to do and how it can divide and allocate its resources to achieve its goal. There's several questions that you can ask in order to form your strategy. That is, who are your customers? What do they want? How can you deliver to them what they want? Now let's look at the definition of operation strategy. Operation strategy is a set of major decisions about core competencies, capabilities, processes, technologies, resources, and tactical activities necessary in the function or chain of functions that create and deliver product and service contribution. To simplify all of this, basically, it is the decisions that we make about our day-to-day activities and we base them on a strategy. That is the operation strategy. So the main strategy of the business levels down and it comes to the operation strategy, and that is followed to make those decisions about that sector of the company. What is the role? Like higher level corporate strategies, operation strategy is about decision making. Operational decisions have a more short-term and tactical impact on the business. However, like higher level strategies usually have a bigger impact and a long-term impact. Higher level strategic decisions, the decision-making process has to be guided towards achieving that one common goal of why the company was formed. Let's move on. They're giving us an example of, simply speaking, if soldiers are sat far from home and they're outnumbered, the general sits at the entrance of the tent for some considerable time, and he looks at the sky. Eventually, he asks the colonel to come and orders him to get the troops back to the base. Now they say, the colonel suggests, can you tell me how I can do that? And the general says, that is your responsibility. I decide the strategy and you implement it. That means the general is the higher level strategy maker, and the colonel is the operations manager. That means the operations manager has to deal with how to follow through with what the strategy was chosen. The purpose of the strategy is to directly contribute to the strategic objectives and to help other parts of businesses to have their own contribution to the strategy. Now, if we look at this graph, we can see that on the axis, there is increasing strategic demand, and on the y-axis is internal operational capability. So we can see stage 1 is correct the worst problems. This means the contribution of the operations department here is close to none. They are barely able to correct the worst problems in the business, and they are not really contributing anything towards the strategy. Then on stage 2, they adopt the best practices. That means they've realized where there's an issue and they are attempting to make it better. At stage 3, they link strategy with operations. That means they're fixing what was wrong, and now they're doing it really well to the point that they're actually linking it with the strategy. And stage 4 is they're doing what they're doing in such an effective way that it could be considered as a competitive advantage for the company. So in stage 1, the operation is internally neutral. That means they are in no way able to contribute internally. In stage 2, they are externally neutral. That means even though they're trying to better themselves, but they're still not providing any type of contribution. In stage 3, they become internally supportive, and in stage 4, they become externally supported. That means their performance and contribution is going up. Okay, now how operational strategy is generated. Step 1 is the corporate strategy. That is, your vision, your mission, why the company was formed, what the upper management thinks about strategy. Then is the customer. So then we need to define the product and service features that we must have in order to satisfy the customer's need. Then we need to determine the level of performance that we want. So how do we want our product to perform? Then is the process. That means how is our operational process going to be like? What do we need out of it? How well do we expect everything to work? And then there's infrastructure. That means we plan and we see what type of infrastructural support does our business need. Okay, so in the corporate view, there's the operational vision, there's objectives, there's plans and priorities. Then we set in the customer view. Here we look at what price, functionality, performance, how much variety we want in our product, what customization we're giving them, the quality, all of that stuff. Then is the performance view. That means what level of performance is our product going to provide the customers. And there's two different elements. There's tangible and intangible elements that must be considered. The tangible elements are easier to quantify, and the intangible elements are hard to measure, and they need to be measured indirectly. Then we move on to the tangible performance measures, which is the cost and functionality. And the intangible ones, as we can see, are reliability and responsiveness, and assurance and empathy. So the step 4 in the process of forming strategy was the process view. Here we say what are conversion processes, what is the basic operational principle, what competencies, what are the limits, what is the system located, how is it organized, how is quality ensured. Then we come to the infrastructural view. That means we look at the structure, the hierarchy, the organizational structure, the management system, the job design, titles, descriptions, the enterprise control system, the automation level. So how many things are done manually? How many things are done automatically? What is the shape of the supply chain? How many people are we dealing with? How many suppliers do we have? How many retailers or wholesalers we deal with? All of that comes under the infrastructural view. Then there's something known as trade-off. That means if you opt for one option, you miss out on the other option, and vice versa. That means whatever option you opt for, you miss out on one thing or the other. So they're saying either you can have a low price or you can give variety. So if you're going to give a lot of variety in your products, that there's no way for you to be able to maintain the cost to a level which would allow you to have the price to be affordable. Then they're saying it's either speed or flexibility. That means either you can ensure delivering fast or you can ensure flexible delivery that could change. Then it says either you can give the customers personalized attention or you can handle a lot of customers. So basically, if you have a lot of customers that you have to deal with, you won't be able to give them attention one-on-one, and you won't be able to spend a lot of time dealing with each one because you will be in a rush to move on to the next customer and deal with them. There is something known as a product life cycle. This is the product life cycle model. On the x-axis we have demand, and on the y-axis we have time. So basically this says, as everything else, the product itself also has a whole life cycle where it is born. There's growth. That means in birth the product is introduced to the market. Then it's growth. That means the demand increases. People start liking the product. At maturity level, it hits its peak demand. That means its demand will not go more than this. Its peak demand is hit, and then naturally it comes to a decline. And at the end, there's a withdrawal. That means people have stopped buying this particular product. So that is called a product life cycle. How operation strategies can be simplified. I'm sure you guys have heard of this a lot of times. There's 3 strategies that are called Porter's generic strategies. There's differentiation. In here, in this one, you aim to make your product so different and desirable from the competition that you can charge premium prices. The next one is overall cost leadership. That means you try your best to keep your costs low so that you can have your price low as well, and you can offer the customers an affordable product. And focus, the third one, is an emphasis on serving a niche market. Now, niche market means a very small market of a particular thing. So your target market is a very small group of people, but it doesn't mean that you can't earn a lot of profit from that. That is it for this chapter. In case you have any questions, feel free to email me, and thank you so much for listening.